Hey guys, Juju here, and welcome back to another Java programming tutorial. And in this tutorial, we're going to cover encapsulation. And what encapsulation is basically how you restrict data to a particular field. That's the best explanation I can do. So I'm going to go ahead and, as always, give you an example. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new class, and I'm going to go ahead and call this I'm going to go ahead and call it block. Good enough. And alright, or actually, sorry, not block, shape. Okay, and I'm going to be putting it in the same package, but if you don't know what packages are, it's okay. You're probably safe. And so I'm actually doing this primarily because I'm going to be using this same class for my next tutorial. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to create variables. But let's say we didn't actually want any modified Java file to access these from a certain range. So that probably was not the best description. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna create a couple variables. I'm gonna create int width, and I'm going to create another one and private int height. Now, what you probably noticed is I went ahead and put this private, and you probably haven't seen this before, but what this means is it's kind of like public. And so what there is protected, and I'm just going to use this for now. So there's private, protected, and height. So let's say height, or actually I'm going to create, okay, but I'm going to make this protected, and we're going to see how this works. So if I go ahead and try and one more. I need one more. Sorry. I'm going to give it a name called I'm going to name Recti. Actually, on second thought, that name does not that name sounds too close to something else. So I'm going to call it Circly. Yeah. So the next one I'm going to do is public, and so this will be int of you know what, I'm just going to set the width to, and then set this to 100 and set the height to 200. Okay, now if we go ahead and create a new shape, alright, we got our object, but let's go both like we did before, but let's try and access. Well, if you go ahead and hit Control Space, you'll notice that we can only access name and width, and height is actually not visible to us. And you'll also notice that the icon here changed also. And the reason for that is that when something is in a package, we can access it using protected. So because shape and tutorial are both in the same package, it goes, oh, okay, Juju, I see that you only want this protected, and obviously you're in the same class, so I'm going to go ahead and let you run access this variable. And public, so this is publicly open, so even if it weren't in the same package, it can modify this variable. However, because this one is private, it says, actually, I'm going to keep this one to myself. This is my variable. You're not allowed to know. This is private, top secret information. And so it actually won't let us directly edit this. So if we, so it stops users or modders from directly editing your variables. What we can do is, well, you're probably saying, well, Juju, what if I want to get the height? What if I need to get the height? Does that mean I have to make it protected and allow them to access it? Well, no. What you can do is you can create a function. So let's say, so this is what's called a getter. And what a getter is basically a method that will return a variable type. So get height, and so I went ahead and added protected because, well, there's no reason in particular. You could put private if you want to. And so this is asking a return type, and so let's go ahead and give it a return type. Go ahead and type in height, and now if we want to access this, so let's go ahead and try and print these out. So system.out.println s.name. Go ahead and copy and paste that. s.width, and we can't do, if we try and do height, it's just going to error at us, so let's just avoid that altogether and just go ahead and be polite and go ahead and use it the way it's intended, and go ahead and run this to see if it works. And as voila, we did it correctly. So circly, its width is 100 and its height is 200, except that this 200 is actually a private variable and we can't actually set it directly. However, if you did want to be able to set it, you could go ahead and go public void set height, and go ahead and pass in an argument of height, and this dot height equals height. Or did I do? Now I'm a bit confused because I'm not actually sure whether I went over this or not. So if you guys aren't sure, what this is saying is this refers to the shape itself, this particular shape. And so it's saying the global, the one outside, the variable called height outside of this scope is equal to the height that's within this scope, which is height. Just so in case I didn't cover that, I'm not sure. Now, you're probably saying, Juju, what's the point? Why have these two if you can just set it anyways? Well, the thing is that depending on how you code your program, especially if you use certain things, you may not want a negative width for, let's say, or a negative height. And so if they have a negative width or negative height, it'll error, or if you didn't want the player to go through a wall by moving, you didn't want a mod that will allow that. So what we can do is we can go directly say if height is greater than 0. And then we can just, or is less, whoopsie, less than or equal to 0. Sorry about that. I had a bit of a typing fail there. no idea what happened. My keyboard just stopped working. Anyways, so now we can make sure that the height isn't going to be any less than 0. So let's go ahead and try that. So if we go ahead and try and do let's go ahead and clear out these 2 lines. We no longer need them. And let's do s.set height. Did I name it set width? No, I set. Okay, just making sure. And I'm going to set it to 76. And let's go ahead and print that out again. And now I'm going to try and set the height to -44. And we'll print it out once again. And let's see if this works. Oh dear, what happened? Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, I am making this a mess. Oh god, okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and drag this down, and you'll see that it did not work. That was a disappointment. It actually went ahead and set the number anyways, and I think the reason is, yeah, I had this right the first time. If height is greater than 0, what was I thinking? Okay, so now as you see, it starts off as 200, and then we set it to 76, then we attempted to set it to -44, and it rejected that number, so it stayed the same. Alrighty, that's it for time. If you found this video useful, go ahead and give it a like. If you like my videos, go ahead and subscribe for future videos. That's it. This was Juju, and I hope to see you in the next tutorial.